drop anyone who is holding you back in any way.
We see the number one thing is people chasing the profits, chasing the markets. They don't want to sit out. They want every single move that they could possibly see. The more you sit and focus on trading, the harder it is, because you're so focused on trying to get that money that it runs away from you, because you're like, I need to pay a bill. I've got this holiday coming up. That's the only thing I have to give me money.
Yeah. That has definitely played a huge part in me getting consistent payouts.
In the first 2 months of 2025, you made 18k in payouts.
Yeah.
How did you do? Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Rise Collective podcast. Today, I get to interview my bestest friend and my co-host, Mads the Trader, Madison Harper. So for anyone that doesn't know you, obviously your handle mostly everywhere is Mads the Trader, but you are not just Mads the Trader, you are Madison Harper. So who is Madison Harper?
Madison is a mom, content creator, podcast host. Obviously trading is the main thing that I do, so that is Mads the Trader. And yeah, I've got 2 law degrees that I'm never going to use. And yeah, that is me.
So I'm not going to beat around the bush. I just want to know how you got that 18k payout, because listen, obviously now we're in April, but in the first 2 months of 2025, you made 18k in payouts.
Yeah.
How did you do it, and where was the transformation? How?
I think the biggest thing for me that I've realised in myself is my self-image has changed a lot, and I feel like I talk about this so much all the time. I'm talking about self-image. So if anyone who's watching our Zoom calls, they will know one of the main things I talk about is this self-image. So I think that has been honestly the biggest change in my life. I think for a lot of my life, I just didn't, like, I always had this ambition, but I didn't think I was worthy, I guess. But I don't know what happened over the last year, but I just thought, you know what, I have to believe that I am worthy of this. And then as soon as I started seeing myself as that person, I feel like that's when things started to change. And I just started to see consistency. Like I don't know what it is, the charts just had more clarity. And yeah, but yeah, I feel like just follow my strategy, and that was that.
How did you feel getting an 18k payout? Because you've had payouts before.
Yeah.
You've made money, you've had highs, you've had lows, but an 18k payout is big. And for like an aspiring trader or someone that's struggling, or they've been doing it for 3+ years, what would you say? I know you say self-image, but is there anything in like your strategy? Because a lot of people think strategy is like bread and butter, like that's the main thing. Is there anything in your strategy you've changed, or would you genuinely just say like it's a mindset shift for you?
Yeah, absolutely. My strategy has been the same for the last 3-4 years. Just literally Fibonacci, support and resistance, trend lines, candlestick patterns and candlestick formations. Like that is literally it. That's all it's been for years. But I think it's also just like having that like belief in the trade, because now I've got the self-image. I'm like, I know my strategy works. So instead of second guessing trades, then getting in late.
Question. So obviously you're talking about self-image, and for anyone that doesn't understand self-image, what it is, how do you do it, how do you shift your self-image? Give me some understanding. Is it like you're doing affirmations to tell yourself you are her? Is it you're waking up in the morning even though you don't want to, because you know that when you're the person you're like desiring to be is going to be waking up in the morning? Like, what is self-image for you?
I think it's exactly that. It's like, it is that discipline, sticking to that discipline of like, I've read all of these books, I know what all these successful people do, but if I'm not doing that, then I can't even see myself as those type of people. So once I started doing the things that I didn't want to do, now I'm like, okay, like I don't know, something like subconsciously just makes you realize that I'm doing the work, so naturally that's what I'm gonna get. So I think that massively, I think self-discipline plays a huge role in that self-image, because you have to do the things that you don't necessarily want to do. Like I don't want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I don't really want to read. I want to just scroll on my phone. Some days I'm not meditating. That is one thing that I need to be better at. But yeah, like it's just all these things that successful people do that like you just get ahead for the day, and then eventually you're ahead of life. So that is definitely a huge role in the whole self-image thing.
I love that. So if we take it back a little bit, before your 18k payout, where was you? Obviously, yes, self-image. Where was you struggling? Like, was there a reason why you felt like you weren't reaching that success? Because obviously you've been trading for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Is there anything that significantly changed for you in your life, or is there anything that you feel like you can give people the advice to do and kind of give them a shortcut in a way?
I think the biggest thing is just working on your mindset. Number one, that is the most important thing, no matter what situation you're in, no matter where you're at in life, no matter who you've got around you. Working on yourself consistently is the biggest thing that you can do. The second thing is getting rid of any anchors. So the people that you're still trying to be motivated around but like aren't keeping up to your pace now, you have to let them go, because anyone who isn't trying to do what you're trying to do just won't understand it. So that is definitely a huge one. Drop anyone who is holding you back in any way. And then lastly, you have to just do the work. Like, you have to put in the work. You have to have a plan for the work, because if you're just working towards nothing and just hoping and praying, you're literally just drifting through life. Like, you feel like you're working, but you're not actually working towards anything. So you have to work towards that plan. And yeah, I think that is probably the best advice I could give.
What does a morning or a day in your life look like as a trader? Like, obviously, I know you're a mum, so you probably do the school drop off and you're doing content and all of that stuff. Obviously, gym now as well. You're a gym
Yes,
girly.
gym girly now.
That changes your mindset as well, don't it?
Listen, I feel like that has definitely played a huge part in
Yeah.
me getting consistent payouts now, because it's literally been the start of, well, it was the end of last year I started, but it was obviously January and February that I got the 3 massive payouts. So it makes sense. Gym helped.
Yes, it does. I love gym.
Yeah.
And it's like a mental release.
Yes.
So, backtracking, a morning or a day in your life, as a trader, what pair do you trade? What time do you trade? What time frames do you trade on?
So I think me waking up at 5 a.m. plays a big role in my whole morning routine when it comes to trading, because if I can wake up at 5 a.m., I'm awake before the kids, I can get reading, journaling, meditating in when I'm meditating, and I can get all of that in before I've even opened the charts. So I wake up at 5, reading, journaling, meditating when I'm meditating, and then I'll jump straight on the charts, see what the charts are doing. To be fair, usually the first thing I do when I wake up is go downstairs, sort like washing up, or get the washing out that's been in from last night and put that to dry, and then put another one in. Like, that's usually my morning routine. That's the first thing I'll do. And then I'll come upstairs, do the reading, journaling, and yeah, get on the charts, and then time to get the kids up, get ready for school. By that point, I might be closing out a trade, or I've just haven't been in anything. But predominantly because I trade GBP USD, I have to be trading like London realistically, because that's when GBP USD gets the most volatility. So I would say I'm definitely more of a London open kind of trader, just GBP USD.
Is that scalping, day trading, swing trading?
It depends on the market conditions. So January and February were more just day trading. Like, I could get in a position, hold it for maybe a couple of hours, doing exactly what I needed to do. And then March came along, and that ended up being more of a scalping season, let's call it. So realistically, like I said, that is a scalper's market, but I wasn't adjusting my mindset from the day trading to the scalping. So instead of entering a position and I'm making like 3 to 4k off that position, now because I should be scalping, it's only going to be like 500 to 1,000. So I think my mindset was still stuck in like getting those bigger, nicer trades and not really having to trade that often, to now back to scalping, where if I want to see nice profits, I'm going to have to be in for a little bit longer and like get in, get out, get in, get out, as opposed to just like holding through one trade. So I didn't adjust my mindset for that and ended up going into heavy drawdown because I just wasn't keeping my mindset aware of the fact that the market has now changed. But obviously that was a scalping season, but hopefully now we'll be back to day trading because I feel like that is what I prefer to do.
Yeah, I prefer day trading. I feel like day trading, you can place a trade, go about your day, and the whole point of placing your trade is to believe in your analysis, essentially.
Exactly.
I always go for like 1 to 3s plus. Have that 1 to 3, you leave that trade and you let it run. Especially like I look at higher time frame candles, and then I'll like go down to a 5-minute 15 to enter. So I'm not expecting where I'm analysing on a 4 hour for price to get there in 5 minutes, unless there's heavy news. What time frame do you enter on and why? Is it just because you like the look of it? Is it because it suits what you're trading? Like why?
My strategy predominantly looks at every time frame. So I'm gonna have key levels on the monthly, weekly, and the daily. And then when you go down to the 4 hour and the 1 hour, I'm also gonna have more zoomed in key areas there. So once I've got my levels on, there's not really much else that I need from those kind of time frames. So 1 hour or 4 hour, I may have a fib. Obviously my strategy is predominantly fibs. I'll have my key levels, but then I want to see a fib retracement like between the key levels, let's say. Then obviously a retracement can create its own key level. So that is predominantly how I trade. So once I've got my levels on the higher time frames, I'm then going to go down to, like I said, 4 hour, 1 hour, may have a fib on there, but then I want to go down to more of the 30-minute and the 15-minute to get a nice intraday fib when the markets are moving normal. So I'll do that, and then once I've got those like mid-level time frame fibs on, I will then go down to like 5-minute and 1 minute. So I'm on those lower time frames to get my entry because I want to see a candlestick structure, let's say from 70.9 or 78.6% on GBP USD. I want to see a 1 minute structure that tells me that yes, we are rejecting that level before actually getting in on a higher time frame when you're going to have a smaller risk to reward. So I utilize pretty much every single time frame and go all the way down to get the absolute best entry.
Another question I have is anyone that is looking thinking, wow, Mads has made 18k, like we understand what you trade, we understand how you trade, we understand the way you felt, we understand what you did to shift your mindset, but would you suggest someone that just goes from maybe like stable, like a couple of payouts every other month, but nothing big, nothing crazy, maybe like $800 to 2,000, right? They get 18k payout. Would you suggest them to quit their job? Would you suggest them to focus on trade and go all in because they can make that money? What would you tell anyone watching?
No, absolutely not. I think one of the biggest things with trading is having other streams of income as well. So you want another stream of income that covers any monthly expense, because again, as traders, we don't want to have anything else that we have to pay for because through trading funds, let's say, because when you're paying for things through trading, that then psychologically affects your trading. For anyone, your trading profits should be for you to pay things off or just do something nice for yourself, like go on holiday or something. Like you need to have something that's paying you monthly, but you also need an emergency fund as well to go with that. I was going to say that at the end of the last point, you have to have an emergency fund before you even think about paying things off and doing all of the extra shit. I think that is really important as traders, just as again, psychologically, if you're trading to make money, you're going to fuck it up somewhere. Like that is just the reality. Something else has to be paying for the necessities of your life, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's like trading, content, brand deals, all of that stuff. It can come and it can go. So like those extra main streams of income, that cash flow, that stability is what's so important. And like you see people that are making great money trading, but they're still working a job, and like you could be like, if you're that much of a great trader, like why are you working? But why would you not want the extra money? Why would you not want the stability? And I do think as well, the more you sit and focus on trading, the harder it is, because you're so focused on trying to get that money that it runs away from you, because you're like, I need to pay a bill. I've got this holiday coming up. That's the only thing I have to give me money.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there was ever a time in trading that you chased the money and it was just running away from you?
For 10% off all Equity Edge challenges, simply use code RISE at checkout. Yeah, absolutely. Probably the first 7 years. Well, I wouldn't say 7 years because I was very on and off with it. But let's say the first 2 years that I was like seeing profits. So this is going to be like 3 years ago now. So 5 years into my journey. It was just constantly losing money. Like I would deposit £100 here, £50 there into Hugo's way, and it was just going. Like I was making no money whatsoever, but I was putting so much money in, and I feel like the more that I was doing it, I would blow an account. Let's say on the Friday, I would fund it again, ready to go, probably on that weekend because I was trading crypto at that point. Like it was just constant. Like it was really bad.
You was really trying to get the bag.
Yeah, like I was like, I think I was at that point, and I was just like, I'm doing this thing. And at that point I'd been so on and off with it. I didn't understand like I had to go deep. And I was just like, I know what I'm doing. Like, why am I not making money? Blah, 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 blah.
And I think it's so crazy as well because now we have the community. We see people going through what we've been through at the start. Like they make a couple of $100 or £100. We trade in dollars, obviously, because it's just, it works out easier.
Yeah. Someone said to me that someone said that to me the other day. Actually, there was like, when they watch our videos, if they didn't know who we were, they would be confused because we're English but we say dollars. And I was like, that's crazy. Because obviously as traders in the industry, we don't realise.
Like FCMO dollars is easier because it's always standard numbers. So I just think like it's just easier for my psychology. So yeah, in the community, obviously we have people that are in there and they're like, we see the number one thing is people chasing the profits, chasing the markets. They don't want to sit out. They want every single move that they could possibly see. Do you stick to like, I know you have your risk management, you have your like trading plan and stuff, but do you have like an A-star setup? Do you need like a certain amount of confluences? Do you set alerts? Like what makes you get in? Obviously, yeah, you're like, prices get into a certain area of importance for you.
Yeah.
But what's that one thing that's like, I won't get in this trade until?
I think it's basically what I explained just in my strategy. It's literally the key support level on higher time frames. So I want to see a key monthly. If I can say like an absolute A-star setup, it's support and resistance on the monthly, weekly. One of those has been tapped. And then the reaction from that tap on, let's say, a 1 to 4 hour, let's say we've landed on support and we've had a bullish engulfing straight off that support. And then I want to see that
retest
come back down as a fib. So I'm going to draw a fib from the basically the key support level up to the top of the bearish engulfing. When I can start to see price starting to trickle back down again, that's when I'm going to draw a fib and see where price is going to come to. If I can then see a reaction on the 1 or the 5 minute from like a 70.9 or 78.6%, and I can see it starting to break structure on the 1 minute, that's when I'm going to get in. That's like absolute most textbook perfection.
I love that.
Ever.
What do you feel like you are most confident in terms of break and retest, rejection, reversal? Like what is your...
I think
I like a break and retest, to be honest.
I feel like mine is just fibs through and through. Like I'm looking for that retracement.
So if you have like, okay, say you have a bullish market, right? From one support to the next resistance, how do you understand either it's going to reject or it's going to break through? Like what makes you like be like, okay, I'm going to wait for this? Because obviously you could still have a fib, but then it could still break through.
Yeah, it could. I think what I'm just waiting for is that kind of
extra confirmation.
Yeah, so I want to see like, let's say for example, sometimes on the 1 or the 5 minute, you'll get that reaction. You'll get the bullish engulfing, but then to add like an extra little confluence, I'm going to look for like, because we're going off support, I'm going to look for like an inverse head and shoulder off of the 1 or 5 minute fib that I've got drawn. And before I started trading lower time frames, I would have been like, you can't get that on a 1 or 5 minute. But now I understand lower time frames and I do it on GBP USD so often, I understand that the lower time frames actually give you what the higher time frames will give you, but just like sooner, so you can get a better risk to reward, and you can literally see invest head and shoulders on like a 1 or 5 minute. So if I can see that as well as that bullish engulfing off of the retracement level, then that's perfect.
When you take a loss, how does it make you feel? Do you reflect it on your outer world, like your children, the way you view yourself, or are you able to just take the loss, be like, this is fine, I was okay with what I risked, and walk away?
I think it depends on my mood. If I'm in a good mood, I just feel like, oh, whatever, like I've stuck to my plan, is what it is, we go again. But if I'm in a bad mood and I haven't done my morning routine, and this is why I'm so like heavy on morning routine, because if I haven't done my morning routine, guarantee, even if I have a good trade, I'm probably going to want to get back in again because my mindset's just not there. So at the moment, I'm limiting myself to 1 trade a day, because through March, I feel like I just got so much into the habit of just over trading. So now I'm like, no, I need to take it back a little bit. In January and February, I barely traded, but I made the most money. But because I think I was still chasing that in March, I was just like, I was still going. So I was just chasing myself, basically.
What is the most you've ever lost on a trade? On one single trade, not a trading day, not a trading week, trading month, one trade.
I feel like I've probably blown accounts on one trade just from like losing max daily loss.
So like 5k,
Yeah,
10k,
just
depending on the account size, obviously.
But just being in that like,
no stop loss.
Right, no stop loss.
Yeah.
Old Mads.
I think as well, like that's another thing that's so hard. It's like understanding that if you have an analysis and price doesn't respect your analysis, you have to change your bias. Like you're not right. Like you have to move with the market.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I definitely struggle with that. Like when I see an A star analysis, I'm like, that is what's going to happen. When it don't happen, I'm like, it's going to happen on the next level.
Yeah.
And it's like we're always waiting for that we're right moment, and we can't be right all of the time as traders.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for Mads the trader?
I think obviously still going to be trading, but I think the main thing obviously that we're doing together is just building Rise. Obviously with the podcast, growing the podcast, getting great guests on, having a huge community and just really building that community up to be the best in the industry. And yeah, that is pretty much it in terms of like what I'm really, really working on right now. Obviously being a mom, that just kind of comes into it, and adds its little spice. But yeah, like that's just what I'm focusing on right now.
I love that. If you could describe trading in one word, what would it be?
Bittersweet.
I like that because it is bittersweet.
It is.
It's sweet, but it can be bitter.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, bittersweet.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you, because obviously this is our podcast, but I feel like you've had an amazing year already.
Thank you.
And I just want to know more about you. And for anyone that doesn't know you, people want to know how you make 18k, right? So to dig into your mind a little bit, I think it was needed. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode. Feel free to check all of our links down below. We have a free Discord. We have a WHOP community where you are only paying $25 a month for weekly webinars from both of us and also from collaborators. You will have all of the webinars replay, event priority, and so much more. So be sure to check out all of the links down below. I will also leave mine and Mads' personal links in the description too. So if you want to go and see Mads' proof on our 18k payout, be sure to go and check that out. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, go back and watch all of our other podcasts and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any in the future.